It is 6:15 on a Tuesday night. You have got three people asking what is for dinner, a sink full of dishes from breakfast, and absolutely zero energy to think. The thing you plan to make? You do not even want to look at it. Sound familiar? Here is the part nobody talks about. If you have ADHD, this is not a willpower problem. This is a brain design problem. And the meal planning advice you have been given your entire life was never built for how your brain actually works. Tried the pretty Sunday planners. I tried the 7 dinner spreadsheets. I tried the Pinterest recipe boards with the color-coded grocery lists. And every single time, without fail, by Wednesday, I was standing in front of the fridge like I had never seen food before in my life. The plan was done. I was done. Takeout again. So I stopped trying to fix myself, and I started fixing the system. And honestly, that one shift changed everything. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly what I figured out. Because if you have an ADHD brain running a real family, you need a completely different approach. Not a harder one, smarter one. Stick with me, because the thing that makes this work is something most people never even think about. Let me tell you why the system you have been trying has never worked. Standard meal planning asks you to do 5 things in a row. Collect recipes, pick 7 different dinners, build a grocery list, shop for everything at once, and then cook the right thing on the right day. For most neurotypical people, this works fine. For an ADHD brain, it is a trap dressed up as productivity. The recipe collecting part is genuinely fun, so you get ambitious. Then the grocery list takes forever, and you lose interest halfway through aisle 3. And the real death blow? The complicated recipe you planned for Thursday gets blown up by a school email, a cranky kid, or just the fact that Thursday you are running on fumes and cannot remember why you thought chicken marsala was a reasonable weeknight idea. The system assumes you will have consistent energy every single night. It assumes your memory will hold everything together. It assumes 0 surprises. That is the opposite of family life. So we are going to build something that assumes you will sometimes forget, sometimes have brain fog, and sometimes just need to put food on the table without crying about it. The first thing I want you to do is make what I call a never think dinner list. Stop reinventing the wheel every single week. You already know 5 to 10 meals your family will eat. The ones you have made so many times your hands could do it without your brain. Tacos, pasta with jarred sauce, breakfast for dinner, sheet pan chicken, soup and grilled cheese. Those meals are gold. Write them down right now on an actual piece of paper and tape it inside a cabinet. That list becomes your backbone. Most weeks you cook from there. Done. No inspiration required. I have a full list of the repeats we use at Cozy Corner daily, including 20-minute weeknight dinners with simple ingredients. And I will drop the link in the description so you can grab ideas without having to think too hard. Because that is kind of the whole point. Now, once you have that list, you do the weekly plan. But here is the part that trips people up. Do not spend an hour on this. 10 minutes. That is it. You look at your actual calendar, not the calendar in your head. You notice which nights are slammed, which nights you will be running on empty, and if you are lucky, which one night you might actually have a little energy. Then you match your dinners to your energy level, not to some arbitrary day of the week. Your hardest recipe goes on your best night. Your easiest meals go on your worst nights. If Tuesday is always a mess because of soccer practice, Tuesday is a sheet pan night or a breakfast for dinner night, full stop. You are not trying to be ambitious on a Tuesday. Tuesday gets tacos and no one apologizes for it. The third thing, and this is the one that quietly saves you the most, is setting up your pantry as a backup plan. Stop thinking about meal planning as choosing recipes and start thinking about it as keeping building blocks around. Grains, rice, pasta, tortillas. Proteins, canned beans, frozen chicken, ground meat. Sauces, jarred marinara, salsa, a jar of curry paste. Frozen veggies, frozen bread. When you have those in your kitchen, you can always answer the question, what is for dinner, without ever looking at a plan. Rice plus canned beans plus salsa is burrito bowls. Pasta plus jarred sauce plus frozen veggies is dinner. Tortillas plus leftover anything plus cheese is quesadillas. You are never actually out of options. You just need the right raw materials sitting there. I wrote a whole guide on how to stock your pantry on a budget that goes deeper on this, and I will link it below too. It pairs really well with what we are talking about here. Now let us talk about meal prep, because I think the common picture of it is all wrong. 3 hours of chopping, perfectly portioned containers, a clean kitchen, and good lighting. That is not real life. ADHD-friendly meal prep is short, it is visual, and it targets friction points, not full meals. You set a 30-minute timer once a week on your highest energy day. You chop a few onions and store them in a jar. You cook a batch of rice. You brown some ground meat and portion it into freezer bags. You wash some fruit so it is actually visible and grabbable. When the timer goes off, you stop. That is the rule. No guilt, no, but I was going to do more. Timer goes off, you stop. And here is something a lot of people skip. Prep, breakfast, and lunch, not just dinner. Mornings are where ADHD brains often fall apart the hardest. If you can make a batch of freezer breakfast burritos on Saturday, Tuesday morning is not a crisis. It is just a microwave. That one move alone can take the edge off the whole day. I have got a freezer breakfast burrito recipe on the site that reheats without getting soggy, because yes, that is a skill. Here's the next thing, and this one feels almost too simple, but it works. Build emergency dinner nights into the plan on purpose. Do not pretend the hard weeks are not coming. They always come. Designate one small section of your pantry as your no-touch backup shelf. A box of pasta and a jar of marinara. Frozen pizza and a bag salad. Boxed soup and the stuff for grilled cheese. Those do not get touched unless the day went completely sideways. And you know what? On that day, you pull from the shelf with zero guilt because you planned for exactly this. On top of that, give at least 1 or 2 nights a theme. Pasta night, soup and sandwich night, breakfast for dinner night. On those nights, you are not choosing from everything in existence. You are choosing within a category. That tiny constraint cuts your decision fatigue way down. Decision fatigue is real, and it is especially brutal with ADHD. The less you have to decide in the moment, the more likely dinner actually happens. One more thing I want to mention, because it matters more than people think, your kitchen setup. If you have to dig through 3 cabinets to find the pot you use every night, that is friction. Friction is the enemy. Your most used pots go where you can grab them without thinking. Spices and oils live next to the stove. Shallow bins in the fridge so you can actually see what you have. If you cannot see it, you will not use it. That is just how ADHD brains are wired, and fighting it is exhausting. Setting up your space to match how your brain works is not giving up. It is just smart. I put together a full guide on setting up an ADHD-friendly kitchen, and it is available over at cozycornerdaily.com. It walks through the whole thing step by step. I will drop the link below, and it is worth bookmarking if the kitchen organization side of things is something you want to actually fix, not just think about fixing. You do not need to wait for Sunday to start any of this. Right now, today, you could write your never think list of 5 meals. Look at your calendar and match 2 or 3 dinners to your energy this week. Set up a backup shelf with 2 emergency dinners. That is it. That is more than enough to make this week easier than last week. ADHD brains are not bad at feeding their families. They just need a system that does not assume you have unlimited mental energy and a perfect memory. Once you build the right structure around yourself, the whole thing gets a lot quieter. You stop dreading dinner time. You stop feeling like you are failing at something basic. You just make tacos and move on. If this helped, I have got a lot more practical stuff over at cozycornerdaily.com. Recipes that are actually realistic, organization systems that work with real brain types, money-saving ideas that do not require a spreadsheet degree. Come check it out. The link is in the description.